MagMongoSlade. We must wash the stench of this show off of us. Draft Night Part 1, April 28th, 2023. This is your host, MagMongoSlade, and this is 3 Count Commentaries. I am very frustrated with the way this draft shook out. It made no sense to me as I struggled to really try to figure out what was going on here and why would you do the things that they did. Why would you do that? I don't know. We'll talk about the draft first. There's no news and notes, not really, outside of Road Dogg saying something stupid about Omos, but we'll talk about that in a moment when Road Dogg comes on the stream. Let's just do, let's talk about the presenters first. It was nice seeing Rob Van Dam. I hadn't seen him in a long time, so it was very nice. He looked healthy. They gave him the most difficult names in the world to pronounce when it comes to Imperium, but it was really nice to see him, you know? Hey, it was great. They really chose to build up returns tonight. They did a great job with the returns. Not at all. They didn't do a good job with the returns at all. But let's get into this thing. Round 1, I was mad off jump. They draft the Bloodline, but somehow the Bloodline is only Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. It doesn't include the Usos. So and Paul Heyman. So you mean to tell me that you can draft 3 people with 1 pick? They've spent like a month talking about this draft and how teams can be broken up, which definitely means factions can be broken up, only to draft a faction in the very first pick of the very first round, and it includes the damn world champion. The damn world champion is being picked in a faction. Oh, okay. Sure. No. No. This is stupid. If you're going to do a draft, do it right, please. 1 person at a time, okay? If you want to pick teams as teams, fine. But Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns is not a tag team. Okay? How they ever wrestled even a tag team match, just the 2 of them? They teased a tag team match. How do you have the Bloodline without all 5 of them? What counts as a faction, by the way? For instance, since the Usos are no longer part of the Bloodline, and this was known to anybody at the time, how could they not count in a faction that they've been in for over a year? How do you decide? Let's say that we're going to cut off this faction right now. We're going to cut right now. Everybody gets drafted with their partners, and we're going to draft these right now. We're going to stop right here at Solo and Roman and Heyman. Why wouldn't you want the Usos? That's an even better question, right? Why wouldn't you want the Usos? None of this makes any sense. This is ridiculous. I hate the draft. This is why I hate it. They keep changing the rules, flip-flopping. None of this stuff is consistent. They say you could break it up tag teams, then they not. Now you're drafting whole factions, but not even the whole faction, just half of the faction. It's like, come on, what the hell? Cody is then drafted to Raw, which makes sense. They're drafting Cody to Raw to keep him away from Roman, which is, the right thing to do. Cody is not winning that other title, by the way. That other title is for the Drew McIntyres and the Seth Rollinses and these guys who probably should have beat Roman, but didn't, because he's on his historic run where he's going to get 1,500 days as champion or whatever the hell. So Cody is not going to win that other belt. I can pretty much tell you that. Bianca Belair is drafted to SmackDown, so now we got to do a championship switch between her and Rhea Ripley. I hope I said it before, but they probably need to rebrand those titles so they wouldn't have to keep having this Raw and SmackDown issue. If you wanted Rhea Ripley to be the Raw Women's Champion, should have just had her beat Bianca Belair at WrestleMania and cut out all this middle stuff. That's a far more efficient situation if that's what you wanted to do. Apparently not going to put them both on the same brand. That doesn't make any sense. All right, so Cody, Bianca SmackDown. Bianca to SmackDown is the right move anyway. I like that. Becky Lynch is to Raw. Okay, that's nothing new. She was already on Raw. Drafting Roman to a show he was already on. Draft Becky Lynch to a SmackDown to a show she was already on. And then, of course, you have to spoil it because we know Bianca Belair is being moved to SmackDown. So, you know, Montez Ford is moving to SmackDown. So, the Street Profits are moved to SmackDown. And you would think that there are far more important things on your draft list than the Street Profits, a team who barely wins any tag team matches, who haven't won the titles in years. You would think they would slip all the way down near the bottom or something, or in the provisional draft or something like that. But no, they're the first pick of the second round. That's ridiculous. Anyway, Imperium, Gunther, Vinci, Kaiser, they will be moving to Raw, which of course tells everybody that Austin Theory is going to SmackDown. Okay, I don't have a problem with Imperium to Raw. I like Gunther. It doesn't matter where he wrestles, to be quite honest. Even though I will miss him main eventing SmackDowns. You know, those are pretty big shows. Now putting him behind a paywall, I don't know. Edge was moved to SmackDown. So the Street Profits were chosen before Edge. Okay, I'm really going to get upset, and I will upset other people if I start doing that again. Who gets drafted before who? I'm not going to get into that. And then out of all of these luminaries, Matt Riddle was drafted to Raw. Well, that was very important. That seemed to be super important, that we draft Matt Riddle to Raw, a show that he was already on. Round 3, Bobby Lashley. You know, Bobby Lashley, who apparently is not as important as the Street Profits, or I said I wasn't going to do that, but come on. He's far more important than the Street Profits and Riddle. Are you serious? And he's moved to the 3rd round and was taken by SmackDown. So this gives us the opportunity to finally have the Bobby Lashley-Roman Reigns feud, which I have wanted for a really, really, really long time. And I am super excited about that. Lashley, Roman, fun stuff ahead if they really let them get into it. Drew McIntyre is being moved to Raw, and he is a likely contender to win that world title. I say of the 3 guys I see in that title picture, I think Drew McIntyre's got a pretty good shot of being that world heavyweight champion. Then they picked, as a group, the OC, which includes Gallows, Anderson, Michin, and AJ Styles. Picked 4 people with 1 pick. And then they had AJ Styles come out there. And he got 0 reaction. Why? Because they played the OC theme music and nobody knew who the hell that is. Because we haven't seen any of these people. Michin ain't been on TV in weeks. Gallows and Anderson ain't been on TV in months. Those guys literally, you would think they're AJ Styles' arms and legs, because when he went down, they all went down. What? We saw hide nor hair of these people. So, of course, everybody likes AJ Styles. So once they realized it was AJ Styles, it was fine. Looking forward to AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Gallows and Anderson being there to take care of Solo Sikoa, or at least to watch AJ's back, ought to really be good. I don't like this OC. I hate the name. It's too generic, and I don't like Michin or Gallows and Anderson. They those guys, they are absolute trash. This is one of those mixing shit with sugar situations where everybody loves AJ Styles, but absolutely nobody likes Gallows and Anderson. Nobody. But I am looking forward to AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns because I know it's coming. That's going to be fun. The Miz, who was already on Raw, drafted to Raw. I mean, this just felt like a waste of a pick. I like The Miz, but that's a waste of a pick, let's be honest. Then Shawn Michaels and Road Dogg came out there. And this is when things started to really kind of get interesting. Round 4, Damage Control is pulled to SmackDown, which means Bayley and Io are going to be on SmackDown. Now, it's going to be an interesting little piece of business here, because what people have been overlooking is that the picks don't actually go into play until after Backlash, which means that Io could win this title. She could win Bianca's title and technically be the Raw Women's Champion on SmackDown. But you're going to have two women who are both drafted to SmackDown wrestling for the Raw title at Backlash. Okay. Just okay. So whether she wins or whether Bianca wins, you have the same problem as neither one of them are on Raw. So we're stuck here. But Bayley on SmackDown is the right move. I like that. I just hope they break up Damage Control. They need to be broken up like tomorrow. Shinsuke Nakamura was drafted to Raw. I don't think it means much of anything. Now, the interesting bits, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire were drafted from NXT to SmackDown. Now, these are the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. Okay. Now, I said I wasn't going to keep doing this, but of all the people in NXT you could pick, you pick Fire and Dawn first? Like, literally, of all the people in the Performance Center, all the people in NXT you could have picked, you picked Isla Dawn and Alba Fire as the very first picks from NXT? These were the first two people picked from NXT. And these people are the least important people on the roster. Okay? Yes, they're the champions. Yes, I've been saying Alba Fire need to get out of NXT. I've been saying it for almost a year. No, I'm not upset about that. I'm frustrated by the fact that these are the first people that were picked out of NXT. We've been watching NXT for a long time. I bet you can name 10 people that you would have picked before Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. I guarantee you would have picked 10 people before you came to them. And probably 4 of them would have been women before you get to Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. Okay. And then Indy Hartwell, the last pick, she is picked to Raw. And I almost puked on the floor. Not only does Indy Hartwell absolutely suck, but she's also injured. And she's going to stank it up on Raw. So, look, that's fine. She's been in NXT forever. She needs to get out of NXT. I pretty much said that this title run was basically a Lifetime Achievement Award for Indy Hartwell. And it seems like that's what's going to end up being the case. She's going to be the champion for a little while. And who knows what's going to happen now. But NXT has lost all of their women's champions. The women's tag champions and the women's champion are all gone, which means that gives Sean another opportunity to run his favorites, fatal 4-ways, ladder matches, or whatever the hell, to make new champions, which instead should be like a tournament. Isla Dawn and Alba Fire will be wrestling KC Squared on NXT this Tuesday for the tag team championships, as they are trying to win the belts before Isla Dawn and Alba Fire leave. They need to stick a thumb in their eye by having Alba Fire and Isla Dawn win that match and then get stripped of the tag team championships and you have to form new tag teams in order to win. Indy Hartwell is going to be the second women's champion to lose her title without getting beat in 2 months, because Roxanne Perez lost her belt last month without losing. So, okay. That's, of course, assuming that they just strip her for being drafted. And then if she can't wrestle, then it kind of coincides perfectly anyway, because she can't work. So since she can't wrestle, you might as well go ahead and draft her. And why would you draft somebody who's injured anyway? Think about that. You draft somebody you can't use. She's in a walk-in boot. I mean, I guarantee you, if you actually paid attention and know anything about NXT, you probably could have picked 15 people before you got to Indy Hartwell. And that's before you even realize that she's injured. You could probably come up with 20 to 30 people before you got to Indy Hartwell. I know that everybody wasn't available at the same time. I know that. It's not the point. Still, you would have had to say that virtually nobody is available in order to come up with Indy Hartwell. For Christ's sake, Indy Hartwell. What a joke. What a scheme this is. And this is what I don't like about the draft. It's so unrealistic. It's not even done in an appropriate way. My thing is just scrap the idea or change it to an actual draft where the only people who are really being drafted are NXT talent. This idea of just shuffling the rosters over and over and over again and people being drafted by shows that they're already on, just give away people franchise tags. This guy can't move. This guy, let's say 3 or 4 franchise tags per year. This guy's not moving. This girl's not moving. This guy's not moving. That way we can not worry about drafting Roman Reigns and Becky Lynch. Like, what brand are Becky Lynch going to be on? Like, somebody gives a fuck. She ain't got no title, so who cares? It doesn't matter anyway. You watch, the motherfuckers who watch Raw watch SmackDown too, so it's not like it's going to make of a difference. That's why it should have been, the NXT is the NCAA. The draft should be one night where it's the night where they call up people from NXT. Period. That's it. If you want to cut it in half and do maybe one round and then you do another round on Monday and you want to do like trades, and that's how you mix up the roster by, trading people for picks or something like that. You could have traded, I don't know, trade Imperium for, a first round pick on Monday. So that's 3 people gone to Raw. That means SmackDown gets to pick 3 people or something like that. Just however that would work out, and then you just draft people from NXT. It would deplete the roster very quickly, but since the Performance Center has an abundance of talent anyway, you would mostly be picking people from the bottom rung. It'd be people like Von Wagner and, Cameron Grimes and, people like that. It wouldn't, because there's not enough Braun Breakers to go around. But you would turn it into what it's supposed to be, a graduation night of sorts for NXT talent. Instead of this really stupid idea of we're going to draft Roman Reigns. Come on. How many times has he been the number 1 draft pick? Pretty much every fucking year now. We got to have Roman on our show. It's so important that we have Roman on our show. It's so important that we have Becky Lynch on the show. Why? 99% of the motherfuckers who watch one show watch the other. Why is it that important that she be on this show? And that's what makes the draft so boring to me. It's no genuine shakeups. It's not like, NXT gets to really draft Roman Reigns from the show. They don't get to draft at all from what I checked. NXT only gets taken away from. They don't get to add anything. They don't get to add anything. They don't get the chance to draft Austin Theory or nothing like that. But whatever. I hate the draft. If you haven't noticed, I can't stand it. It's stupid. It's a stupid idea. And you had Apollo Crews, who's got a good 35 years old, has wrestled at WrestleMania already, sitting there in the Performance Center like he's some kind of new recruit, like he's some new booty. Ain't never been on the main roster before. He's sitting there with gigantic beard, 2 grown children or some shit like that, sitting there amongst 20-year-olds. Like, stop this. What is this? Get that guy out of here, man. He's a regular roster guy. He should just go back to the brand he was already on. But the all right. So the new rosters take May 8th. So they're probably gonna pull some stuff. I just can't believe Isla Dawn and Alba Fire were the first picks from NXT. That's ridiculous. Of all the people that you could have picked, again, if you want to protect certain people, just give them a franchise tag. You can always create like golden tickets or franchise tags or whatever. And that way you can protect a great deal of talent that most people will be smart enough to keep. You don't want them to draft Carmelo Hayes. Give him a franchise tag. That way he can't leave. But everybody gets the same amount of franchise tags. Maybe NXT get a couple of more because it's a smaller brand. And then you just, protect assets. The champions, the top guys, stuff like that. But there is nothing good about sitting here watching Cody get drafted to Raw. It's like he was already on Raw. The Bloodline are drafted to SmackDown. He was already on SmackDown. Like that's not shaking up the roster. We talking about let's shake things up. You shake things up by Roman Reigns being on the same show that he was already on, and that's the first thing we do. The first damn thing we do. Usually, I think it was what was this 2005 maybe, where the first pick was John Cena to Raw. And everybody was like, "Oh shit!" Like they changed some shit right out of the box, but. Not this year, and not any year in recent years have they decided to do anything surprising right out of the box. So I'm flummoxed by this. So outside of the draft, the only other thing that really happened on this show was Paul Heyman's looming over the Usos like a dark cloud. The Usos was out there talking about bringing the gold back to the Bloodline. Said Roman ain't been responding to them, ain't been sending them smoke signals, text messages, or responding to their beeps. And then said they dedicate tonight to him. Sami Zayn came out there once again trying to talk sense into... I'm tired of him trying to talk sense now. Like, it was cool Superman shit at first, but now he's just coming across like a clingy girlfriend. And says that essentially the Bloodline was drafted as Roman and Solo and Heyman, not the Usos. And then that was everybody said they was going to win, so of course they said that. Heyman gave the Usos a bit of a pep talk, talking about either they're going to get drafted to the Island of Relevancy as champions or cast into the ocean of obscurity. Then he gave them a really good pep talk about all these great things while he, behind their back, gave a roll of tape to Solo Sikoa. So Paul was intimating that Solo might have to actually do some work tonight, that he might have to put his brothers down. That was generally the idea that you were supposed to get from him handling that tape. So we get to the match. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defeat the Usos in a super kick heavy contest. I'm tired of these super kicks. I hate them so much. At first, Solo Sikoa is just watching, and Paul Heyman is again looming over him. He then gets a call on his red phone, the bright red phone. That's the emergency phone. When you got a bright red phone, that's the bat phone. You feel me? That joint bright red. You can't miss it. you know something up when the red phone starts to ring. So Heyman gets the call because the Usos weren't looking too good. And Heyman sends Solo out there as he says, tonight is your night. Solo is going out ringside. He immediately gets attacked by Matt Riddle, who throws some of the most feckless, worthless, shitty-looking punches possible. It's embarrassing, if we be honest. But Solo doesn't come back. And because of that, the Usos lose. So Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are the victors. So I guess now the Usos are officially kicked out of the Bloodline. I don't know. I don't understand this stuff. I'm too old for this shit. I don't understand what they're doing here. But will we finally get to the point of there being consequences for the Usos losing? Because the consequences so far has Roman ain't talking to us, man. He ain't talking to us, Us. He ain't got nothing to say to us, Us. And I was like, all right, can we get the segment now where they actually do stuff, or is Roman on like a permanent vacation? He's already been gone for 3 fucking weeks. Like, he can come out here and cut a promo, can he? For fuck's sake, come on. All right. So that was fine. I think very few people really expected the Usos to win. It didn't make sense for them to win. And, it was wrong to even... did I say that they were going to win? I may have suggested it, just kind of as a thought experiment. But I didn't really think they were going to win. Like, it really wouldn't have made any sense for the Usos to win those titles back. unless Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens was going to turn on them. Or going to turn on each other, rather. And I don't think they would have done a good job of doing that. Especially with all the effort they put in and with making sure that the Usos are falling apart. So, there that go. The first match of the night was Butch losing to LA Knight. LA Knight won a match. Everybody got very excited. They got very excited. The Street Profits defeated Ricochet and Braun Strowman, as well as Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde of the LWO. Braun Strowman had a concussion last week, and he's back already. I don't know. That doesn't sound good. I saw the clip of Bryan Alvarez and Tom Lawler making fun of Braun Strowman for botching as he tried to throw Ricochet, and then he stumbled out of the ring and collapsed. To their credit, I'm going to be fair. I don't think they knew he had a concussion when they made fun of him. I genuinely don't think that they knew that. So they were just making fun of a botch, essentially. They were making fun of a botch. They didn't know that the guy was actually injured. So I think that kind of goes without saying, but I'm going to be fair to them. And I think the idea of them making fun of him for having a concussion is like, nah, they didn't know that. At least I will hope they didn't know that. I will hope they aren't that scummy, The Street Profits finally won a match. Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde never win anything. I also heard that the LWO are actually top 10 merchandise sellers for WWE. That these t-shirts are apparently selling like hotcakes. Just imagine how much they might actually sell if they won matches, for Christ's sake. Just imagine if they actually won. These things might actually turn out great. Zelina Vega defeated Sonya Deville. Zelina Vega is the only member of the LWO to win a match in weeks. And in winning this match, I don't think Zelina Vega got any offense in. I think she basically just sold and then managed to win via roll-up. And it was a pretty sloppy roll-up at that. Sad to see Sonya Deville in the ring as an in-ring jobber with no entrance at all, but WWE doesn't care about it, Sonya Deville. It's very upsetting. I would give her a gun-toting gimmick. That would rule, but whatever. Anyway, Rhea Ripley attacked Zelina Vega after the match because they're having a match in Puerto Rico. Because Sonya Deville is out there, that means Chelsea Green, her tag team partner, is present. Chelsea Green, just by existing, caught the eye of Rhea Ripley, who decided to intimidate Chelsea Green. But this gave Zelina Vega an opportunity to recover. She returns, when Rhea Ripley returns to the ring to give a riptide to Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega counters it into a DDT. This surprised Rhea Ripley, who actually took time to sell it and was kind of shocked and surprised and holding her head, just got her hand at the top of her head like, how could this have happened to me? And Zelina is just running away, smiling. And everybody's like, okay, this was not bad, okay? So one of my favorite parts of this show is Rey Mysterio giving Zelina Vega a pep talk backstage. I think he should have been at ringside, if we're being honest. He's giving her a pep talk talking about, hey, the size difference. And said that it's not about the size of your body, it's about the size of your heart. He spent his entire career, as the underdog, and he fought his way all the way to the Hall of Fame. As long as she believes, she can win. And she, of course, talked about being invigorated by the idea of wrestling in Puerto Rico and all this stuff and what all this stuff means to her. And this is a really good segment. We really should lean more into Rey and Zelina bonding over both being small. And maybe if we actually used Zelina a lot more, that would get over. She is a really good heel. She is a great heel. But she is undersized, which makes her perfect fit for the babyface role. I mean, she's almost a mini. That's how small she is. Zelina Vega hits most women hit the ropes on the second rope. Zelina Vega hits the third rope. And she comes in under the rope without moving it. Like she's got to be light in the ass and very, very short. That size differential ain't nothing to play with. Okay, so I like the idea of her being sort of the female Rey Mysterio. You know, we gotta get her to that point though. You can't just lackadaisically, push it. Got an OC segment when AJ Styles was about to talk. His first words since coming back, which they could have treated like a big deal and they didn't, because I don't know, because Gallows and Anderson was involved, for Christ's sake. I don't know, but AJ Styles' return was treated like an afterthought. It's awful. It was so embarrassing. And then the first thing they do is put them in the ring with the fucking Viking Raiders. Can we draft the Viking Raiders to GCW? Draft these motherfuckers to the NWA. They want to be Vikings. Draft these motherfuckers to Iceland or Sweden or something like that. Draft them the fuck out of here. They suck. Anyway, AJ Styles backs away and lets Michin and all of them handle their business, and they just beat the Viking Raiders up. So, Valhalla awaits. No, Valhalla is for valiant warriors, not for bums who get their asses beat every week. You bums suck. Fuck out of here. And the last segment, the one that we didn't talk about, Shinsuke Nakamura got his ass kicked by Karrion Kross, which Karrion Kross said he was going to do last week. So it's nice to know that he's a man of his word. He said he was going to beat up Shinsuke Nakamura, and he did. So draft night 1, wasn't a big fan. I don't like the draft. I don't care about the draft. I don't see why you draft whole groups. I don't see why they keep changing the rules about tag teams. Sometimes tag teams are drafted together. Sometimes they're broken up. Who makes the call to break up a tag team or break up a faction? Who made the call to draft the Bloodline but not the Usos? That makes no sense. So I don't get it. So that's dumb. Oh yeah, I want the Bloodline. Yeah, man, it draws a hella ratings. But we don't want the Usos though. The guys who actually wrestle on TV. We don't want them. It makes no sense. Goofy shit. Oh yes, we gotta have Indy Hartwell. Fuck. Said no one ever. Okay. In any event, we're going to be dealing with this stuff for the rest of the weekend. So hopefully you enjoyed it. I did like AJ Styles. I hate that his return was garbage. So, but at least there was some stuff on here to like. The main event was okay. It's just too many fucking super kicks. But at least got people into it. It was essentially a one match show with the draft wrapped around it. So for that, it was fine. What say you guys? Do all the YouTube things. I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.